We have been seeing a bit of support Tiny returning as well, so it wouldn't be too surprising for me to see like a POS 4 Tiny here from TNC if they wanted to go down that route. But they are going to have a bit of a heavier think about this fourth pickup now.
Yeah, I think the support Tiny, funny enough, is mainly run by Norman. I think at least in Southeast Asia, not much of anyone else really does that pause for Tiny. I can see Carlo picking it up perhaps, but I feel like that's something they prefer on Army Genes instead in comparison to TNC. So I think they're going to be looking for a much more Carlo hero. I mean, what's left from Earth Spirit's a good way of dealing with Enigma early on. Earth Spirit Mars lane, not the ideal. You could play with something like, well, the Mirana's been banned out. That would have been one of Carlo's specialties, of course, in the pause 4. Combines really well with Mars. Gives you some great chase potential, long-range initiation. They go with Nature's Prophet instead. So it does look like you might be right, Mike. They could be running the Tiny 4. I think Carlo has run the Nature's Prophet for quite a fair bit, though. So you could still flex the two between Pawns 1 and Pawns 4. And either one still has really good presence. It's hard to say. I don't, this is Krish's. It's been a while since we've seen Krish in the DPC. He was on Team Dog some time back, if I recall right, and they didn't quite make it through the opens. They did get disqualified at that time. So I'm trying to recall, did Krish play a lot of Nature's Prophet? I think he played more Tiny, but again, NP or Tiny on 1 or 4 wouldn't be too bad. They both still contribute in a good way in that lane.
Yeah, they certainly. I mean, it's just the thing about the Prophet, right? Like, it dominates lane, and then I question what it does after that. Like, it can be very aggressive with the rotations, with TP and whatever else, but I am questioning the pick a little bit here coming out from TNC Predator. I was liking where the draft was going before the Nature's Prophet pick, and now it's kind of like, if it's support Prophet, I just don't have any faith in it. And if it's POS 1 Prophet, I think the only person that we've seen make POS 1 Prophet work is, was it Natsumi, that really enjoys running the POS 1 Prophet, so I don't know about this pick. I just don't think it's a great support either. We'll see what they do with it. I mean, maybe they think they can run it POS 1 like Natsumi would. And even then, I think the last time we saw him play POS 1 Prophet, he ended up losing, if I'm correct in saying so. So, see what happens. Final banouts to come.
I think for TNC, just because if it's a support Nature's Prophet, it does fit Carlo's playstyle, right? He likes being a lot more aggressive in his 4. That's why you see him play a lot of Mirana. He loves to rotate mid. NP does have a nice time working onto those lanes, so you can look to show up, contribute to a team fight, or at least start to set up for your team, and just provide that aggression all across the map. I think the POS 1 NP, I mean, it does feel really strong in certain hands, and again, it's not like a TNC special in that POS 1. AG do pick up Necrophos as well, so that should be our Wami here in the offlane. He does love his Necrophos coming through, and considering your matchup, either Tiny or NP, Necrophos has a pretty good time. I think you would maybe prefer playing against the Nature's Prophet there. You can clear out the treants, you can get that as gold for yourself. You just get more regen with your passive if you kill more creeps. Nature's Prophet provides that. And you've got a great way of ripping through Tiny now with a Reaper's Sight. TNC do close out with a Viper. So looking like a much more stable mid for them to play with. And Krish will take the Mars here. So looking like a mid Mars with the offlane Viper for Bach. And Yowie will take that Nature's Prophet safe lane. So it is a Tiny support for Carlo.
Right.
And I'm keen to see what happens here. We don't see the mid Mars too often. Krish, of course, should be familiar with that. And in the matchup against Kunkka, at the very least, you are dealing with a melee-to-melee matchup. That is something the Mars can manage pretty well. Tidebringer is still going to be a very painful spell for the Mars to deal with, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think I prefer this. Like, the draft was looking real weird, assuming it was going to be that support Prophet. But now that it's a POS 1, I have a bit more faith in it. Do I think it's good? I still have my questions about it. I think you're going to have a very, very good time here as Army Geniuses going into this game number 1. We'll see, though. You never know. I mean, again, TNC, I think, are not looking to be the favorites here in this matchup, and we'll have a look at the 188 betting odds very, very soon as we get into the game. But I do feel like as the side of AG may have come out on top in terms of draft, I suppose it can go either way, though. It's kind of hard to say.
It's I'd agree with you. I think AG does have the stronger draft. Again, if you look at their sustain with Necrophos on top of the Phoenix and Kunkka, these prolonged team fights are going to be pretty painful for TNC. And the one thing TNC has to do is play really aggressive when those cooldowns are already committed, or try to cut off AG and prevent that 5-man clump up. If you can pick them off one by one, if you can, say, punish Wami Synigma on the off lane, make that work towards your advantage, it starts to feel a lot better. You have great push from TNC. With the NP, you have great D push with the Treant Protector as well, so you can stop them from collapsing onto your objectives. AG doesn't have the best push outside of Enigma with Eidolons, so if you can just hold onto your tier 1s for a very long time and just prevent AG from looking for those team fights, split them up, which you can do with Nature's Prophet and Tiny support that has Blink. And that's where AG's game gets a bit tough. So we'll just have to see who executes on top. I do think that the draft of AG, a lot easier to pull off.
See how it does go, John. We are going to go into game number 1 here between Army Geniuses and TNC Predator. See how this all ends up panning out as we do go into it, John. Of course, betting odds are going to be up as well. Let's have a look to see who is the favorites. And by the way, I heard camera controls are broken in games. That's going to be very... Yes, they are. Very good.
Yes, they are.
Excellent.
I thought that we'd get a mini patch to fix it, but I pressed my my arrow keys. Nothing's happening, so we're going to have to click around, Mikey. Got to use our mouse buttons instead.
Excellent.
What was us?
Love to see it, Jonathan. I'm wondering if anyone raised the ticket. I mean, you've been seeing on Reddit, I'm sure, John. Jeff Hill's been going off, Jonathan. He's been doing a great job over at Valve. Might have to raise a ticket with Jeff.
Yeah, I'm sure he's very active, and he's got his work cut out for him, Mr. Jeff. But hopefully you see this fixed up soon. It's still usable, Mike. So I guess we can't really complain too much. There's smoke on smoke.
You can't
here.
complain. You're not the one doing camera work, John. I am.
I actually do just keep using my arrow keys. I act like I'm also opting. I don't know why. I'm just used to it. So it feels weird without the arrow keys, right? You have to click on the mini-map. You have to adjust your camera like that. I can't imagine you doing the fights with this, though.
Yeah, well...
Tracking a fight with the mouse.
It's not going to be easy, John. Please don't get too upset, ladies and gentlemen, if there's some camera issues. As you can see, it's kind of tough to do it already. So I'm trying to get used to it as we speak. Hopefully someone at Valve fixes this before it becomes too big of an issue. It's TNC. They might go for a level 1 team fight here. DB going to be around the area. Carlo's going to spot him out, but it's probably not really the target you want to make the jump on right now. DB very aggressively moving forward onto Carlo. Able to secure his own boundary rune. In fact, they're going to have a bit of a scuttle over the bottom boundary rune, it seems, as Narman is able to take it for his team, and it actually ends up being a 3-for-1 trade. So not a bad start whatsoever here for Army Geniuses, who get away with more gold through the bounty runes. And, well, for TNC, it's right to the drawing board. Into the laning stage they go.
Yeah, and I do love the switch up from Army Geniuses. We were talking about that Monkey King being pause 1. DB takes the Necrophos instead, so that kind of gives him a very stable, safe lane to play with. Again, lots of sustain with Phoenix, Necrophos in that lane, especially once the Sunray is available, although that tends to come out later on. You are laning up against a Viper here as a Necrophos, so it's still a very annoying lane to deal with. Viper just dominates the lane very hard along with the Treant, so there's a lot of aggression TNC can pump out here. But as long as DB kind of just plays his lane, finds some CS, hits level 3, you should be able to just work that lane fine. First 2 levels feel a lot better for TNC if they find the angle, though.
I wonder if they go for an early point in Ghost Shroud here on DB, right? Because you kind of pointed out how tough it's going to be against the Viper already. You see DB starting with those brown boots, already assuming that he's going to need that added movement speed, but I wonder if he does go for a value point in Ghost Shroud before, say, the level 5 mark. Because that's generally the time you do see it being skilled up, but you might find yourself in a position where you need it a bit earlier than that.
And they've already gotten a good amount of denies as well here inside of TNC. Every single time you take away CS from Necrophos, it does hurt. I mean, he doesn't quite have the Heart Stopper up, so you can't just grab the sustain that way. I don't think you necessarily want the early Ghost Shroud, because the Viper is magic damage with a DOT. So you might get some break off from the right-click attack, but the DOT will amplify because of that Ghost Form here.
That's a fair point. We'll have a look at the other lanes as well while we're at it, Jonathan. Of course, mid lane, you're going to have Krish against Azura. So far for Krish, it's a very, very good laning stage, top of the CS board. Azura right behind him on the Kunkka, but it does seem like Krish is going to have absolutely no issues here in the mid-Mars to be able to make this laning stage work. Is there anything in particular you think we need to keep an eye out on here, John?
Rune control's the big one. I think it's a little bit more important for Krish. He's much more mana dependent compared to the Kunkka. But Azura should have a much more stable time once he has that level 2 Tidebringer up, which is up. He should be able to trade hits a little bit more. When Krish does run out of mana, that's when Azura can really run this lane well. He does have his one Bracer up. He's going for his Phase Boots next. A lot of regen being funneled out, but no bottle for him. So Rune Control, again, not a big priority, and he can always go for the XTP home if he drops low, which Krish won't have on hand for himself. So Krish just has to get the most from this point, while the Kunkka's not quite dominating him that hard.
Right. We'll have a look at that last lane as well. Of course, bot lane, Wami going to be there on that pos 3 Enigma against Yoe and Carlo on the Tiny Nature's Prophet, and it really doesn't seem like the easiest lane in the world for this Enigma. It does feel like the Treants have a bit of an advantage over those Eidolons going into this laning stage, and of course with the recent nerfs that happen with the cooldown of those Eidolons, it's going to be a lot more hard to be able to control this laning stage for Wami. And as you can see, John, Yoe's having absolutely no issues here in the Prophet.
Yeah, it's just CSing away quite happily, able to shove in the wave. Carlo is also not quite being forced around yet, and they are just clearing out the Eidolons every single time they're summoned up. The Treants just running them down, as you mentioned, and already applying some early pressure. This lane is pretty tough. Narman's already just rotating mid because he can't really do much. They are trying onto Krish, though.
But they are, Krish. I mean, he's been slowed up by the Orb of Venom, but that's about all that Narman's doing. Krish is really taking no damage. And he's just going to walk back towards his tower. I'm not really sure what the idea was there from Narman. Top lane? Maybe they can find Varish. He seems to be just fine, though. He does have Icarus dive up. Narman is rotating. This time, the gank may work out for them as Army Geniuses still kind of baiting them forward. Mavis going for the chase, but the Primal Spring is in. Varish dropping very low, though. Might be the first blood, but no, he's barely surviving, but not quite. Mavis will get the grasp off in time as they even find another. Bok, he'll keep chasing a bit more forward. Unable to get the Monkey King, but he's already got so much out of this top lane now. Killing off the Necro and the Phoenix.
That's a huge start for the Viper. Lots of EXP going his way. I'm going to have a level lead over the Necro. He's just going to be able to dominate that lane even harder. And this just goes back to how AG's flexed their draft. Right? They decide to drag that Monkey King onto Narman. Enigma Monkey King lane just doesn't do much, and it just means he's rotating early, but he doesn't have any stacks of Jingu ready. He has level 1 Tree Dance, level 1 Boundless. He's still stuck at level 2, giving a solo lane for Wam to get as much EXP as he can. But he's not really able to help out mid too much. See Norman kind of trying to stack up here, just building up where he can, but I think TNC's already found what they want from their lanes. They've got a really good Viper lane going. This should be a snowballed start for Bok. And they have an uncontested lane for Yoe. So Nature's Prophet going to hit that timing really early. If he feels the need to, Yoe can also just play with the teleportation once his right click starts to amp up as well.
It's only a great start here for TNC. Very, very good laning stage here for the Radiant side, especially with AG's drafts as well. They are definitely a little bit greedier. Much more reliant on hitting those timings with that mid Kunkka. As Carlo going to rotate back down towards the bot lane. Wami is going to be targeted here as the toss back is back out onto Yoe, but Narman is around to help out with the Primal Spring. He is going to try to move in. Yoe still trying to go for the man fight. Narman, he's gone too far into the T1 tower, but a nice mischief dodge on the right click of Carlo. The body blocks were even there from the Treants accidentally from the Prophet, as now Wami is going to try and turn this one around onto the Tiny, and they'll find something. Not a bad pickup for Army Geniuses. But Wami has to be very cautious now. Very low in HP. There is a TP available in the Prophet, but it does seem like he's just going to go back to farming. This TNC unable to make the bot team fight work out.
It's a good piece of aggression coming out from AG. That's what they need to kind of repair the lanes. Wami's still not the best of spots here, though.
Boundless is available. Wami, we're going to make the jump in. Narman going to at least trade here, and well, quite frankly, that seems a lot better for the side of AG as Carlo does find a secondary kill. But I suppose considering how well Yoe is farming, you're not too unhappy about that as AG.
Yeah, I mean, it still slows down Nature's Prophet slightly, but you find that kill in the Enigma, and you start to slow down some of his key timings, and it's still been a very rough lane for Wami, regardless of that kill. You are pretty happy here if you are Norman. I think he's the guy that really wins out here. Level 4 now on the Monkey, so his rotation's going to feel a lot more impactful. The two supports are kind of stuck up top from AG's end, though. They've already got DB jungling at level 4. Not the best feeling in the world for a Necrophos. You want to dominate the lane. You don't want to jungle this early on. But he doesn't have any options. Bok is level 7, full 3 levels ahead. There's really not much he can play for there, and it's just forced to try to build up. Already has a null going into a bracer next just for some more stats and regen. But how do you handle the Viper now? Your Necrophos is not in any shape to handle him, and again, Bok with his overwhelming start can start to dictate this game just by his very presence and right clicks.
He's doing a great job here, Bok. This Viper. I mean, it does have a point where it starts to drop off, but I guess against the Necrophos, he can always be a nuisance. See how AG wants to try and deal with this. Again, they do have a bit of a greedier draft. Chances are, with a slow start, they could get run over here by TNC. It depends on how much pressure TNC can apply based off the great start they've already had. It's Krish. It's going to be Varish, but Varish does take the Invis rune away from the Mars. Is Mavis even going to show up? And does have a sentry, but see, is not going to bother dropping it. Chances are they were not going to catch the Phoenix anyway. Meanwhile, top lane, Narman copying it now from Bok, but is going to be able to Primal Spring back into the tree line and he'll be just fine. It does seem like one of those slower games as well for this game one. Like, you do have Prophet versus Enigma, so chances are both teams are going to be more than happy to keep this farm game going. The Arena, mid lane, is going to catch out the Necrophos, and my god, that's a lot of damage. Krish, getting rid of DB real darn quick.
Sustain game isn't quite there from AG just yet. Ghost Shroud was popped by DB, but just not enough to heal him through, and damage did come through from Krish, catching him at the tail end of that. So, nice big kill for the side of TNC. Smoking up once more. Carlo wants to keep that aggression up. They don't have a good angle to go onto the triangle if they want to contest that, and Wami's pretty well protected now. He's leveled 7. He does have the Black Hole threat to play with, so you don't want to overcommit. Arena's still down for a bit longer, but they've got the max out Spear, they've got the max out God's Rebuke. Just one little stun could lead to the end of Wami. And we'll play it cautiously, though. Not seeing anyone push in. Wami plays it safe. Backs off. They've lost their top, though, and Bok is just going on to Norman.
Look at Norman. Oh, he might die in the fountain.
Whoa.
Oh, boy. Fairy Fire's going to save him. Just barely. That Fairy Fire saving the day for Norman. It's such a rough affair against the Viper, though. There's just no way you can lane against it now. Bok, he will just continue dominating the top side of the map. Top of the net worth board here on the Viper. Right behind him is going to be Christian the Mars. So again, it's been a very good game thus far for TNC. I mean, mind you, Yoe has fallen slightly behind on the Nature's Prophet, but he can easily catch up. It's not going to take him that long in the jungle. There's Mavis. Mid lane going to try and secure the DD rune, but is going to get jumped on. Boat will fly through. Kish does actually cop the boat stun, but is still going to be able to go ahead and take that power rune for himself.
Radiant's bottom tower.
So Army geniuses. I mean, they kind of get some damage out, but they just don't have any way to capitalize off it.
Yeah, I think for AG right now, Mike, they've got to wait for all of their spells to kind of line up, which is still a ways off down bot.
Black Hole, they caught Bok, but it's immediately cancelled off here for Wami. His Bok is still dying. Narman tries to finish off the job, but gets taken down himself. A great trade here for TNC Predator, as they make it work again off the back of Bok. AG getting desperate now, but unable to find really anything apart from the Viper.
And I said he need to wait for combos. Zura down mid.
Yeah, mid lane. Krish is just doing way too much damage. Once that spear lands in the arena, it just feels like nobody on the map can survive right now.
Dire's structures are fortified.
You just hammer someone in, you have the double damage as well. Varish,
Oh, look
not
at this.
safe here.
Tumbler's Toy usage, double damage rune Varish. Barely able to get out with 50 HP, but it's such a rough affair as bot lane. They've even lost Wami. Narman, he's going to keep trying to chase down the Prophet, but the trains are blocking his way. In fact, Carlo is going to try and help him out. Narman, he's going to be alright. But they just can't find anything here, AG. It's a 3k net worth advantage now for TNC Predator. Zazura will rotate back into the mid lane, but immediately is speared up.
Yeah, this is concerning for Army Geniuses, Mike. They need to play with their teamfight spells together. I think we've got to see like a black hole egg Wukong's on top with a boat coming out, and you're gonna need a BKB up on Wami, and before that really happens safely. That's still a long ways off for our Enigma. So that teamfight timing just feels very, very distant, and for TNC, that's just their start. You know, Viper is really strong early, Mars already off to that overwhelming start, Blink already up for Krish as well, and they're just buying a lot of time for Yoe. Like, down the line, even with the teamfight threat, the scaling of Army Geniuses doesn't feel amazing. Like, you look at DB right now, Mike, he's going for Radiance. And it feels like the timing of that's just going to feel really off. And even with a Radiance on the Necrophos at this point, you don't have anything else. You literally have Brown Boots Null Radiance build going on for DB. So even with that really strong burning damage presence he has, he's just going to melt to the output of TNC with nothing defensive, and it's just going to be a long while till any of that comes through. Mid tower being pushed in by TNC, no defense out from the side of AG. They opt to instead try to shove in bot themselves, and they should find that, but it's a big win for TNC. Top jungle completely open for them now.
Yeah, I don't even know if that Radiance pickup's going to be that strong here for DB. Like, it deals with the Prophet quite well, but we've seen how fast DB dies. Like, just Krish fighting him once with an Arena Spear, and that Necrophos is basically gone, and we might see it here. As Krish was trying to loop his way over. He does have the blink up. They might head up top instead. They do see Narman on the Monkey King. But no, there's going to be a smoke up down towards the bottom side of the map. They want a bigger target. They understand how powerful they are right now, TNC. Skirmish is going to break the smoke, but does get caught by the avalanche. And eventually, oh boy, that speed did not land, but it won't matter. Krish still able to pick up the kill. Not quite the greatest kill in the world. It is just a Phoenix, a Pos 5 Phoenix at that, so not that valuable of a kill here for TNC, but it's something.
That's something you don't really mind. You just take what you can get. You didn't expend any big cooldowns. You do lose a smoke, and that does buy some time for AG to keep working your triangle, get some wards down, keep buying out for this Necrophos to build up. Down top, though.
Yeah, Narman. He's going to be okay for now, but the Dree Toss is going to show a bit of vision. It's the Monkey King. He's still able to just tree jump his way out, or rather tree dance his way out. Meanwhile, Varish now being chased down once again by Mavis. But it is going to be fine, as he does have Icarus Dive available. It does seem like Army Geniuses have accepted the fact that they are behind and will play just a very slow game here against TNC, hoping for the best throughout the mid to late game. But right now, it just doesn't seem like they've got a shot at taking a team fight.
It's a tough one. And that's where their lineup really shines, right? Like, all these team fight spells have to be on top of someone. They have to find a way to split up TNC. None of those options are presenting themselves. Perhaps once they have this BKB on Azura, that could be one of the launching points for them to start playing. They're going to have a frontliner that can just stand and fight, not care too much about the spells coming through from TNC. And Azura does almost have that BKB, only 800 gold away. So it's all off the back of the Conka now, it feels like, as they do have the Aetherlance up on Wami. He's going for Octarine, and he is being hunted down by Krish, though. Invisib's up, Blink is ready, but look at the immediate response from AG. They know they can't afford to keep losing kills like that. They have to clump up as 4 just to stop a potential jump in. And they're not even going to find anything. Like, Krish just TP's away. Bok is around, but it's a Viper. Even killing him off is going to take a while.
Yeah, and now top lane, Varish, he could be in danger. I mean, he does have the dive up, but Mavis does also have Overgrowth available. Like, Varish is going to back off at the right time. It does feel like TNC are more than happy with the way this game's going right now, though. Just forcing those rotations out from Army Geniuses, and it just seems like there's nothing they can do about it. I suppose for them, at least they're farming. The top 3 net worths on the board right now are all on the side of TNC Predator. So it's not like they're even catching up right now. As oh, DB, that's your Pos 1 Necrophos. Bok gets him just taken out on the Viper, and it's just so easy once Varish catches you.
Yeah, you just get held down. You can't really do much if you're DB right now in this game. Again, he's still trying to rush that Radiant, still one part away. It feels like he's gonna need a BKB. And even then, BKB Radiance, I mean, normally you see Necrophos just go off to an overwhelming start with, say, an early Hood of Defiance, and you just start running down the lane. He can't really have that forward presence until something that helps him tank up is there, which should be the BKB. Azura does find Krish here.
They're going to try. Krish, he's a big target. They'll land with the boat. Wami does have Black Hole available if they need it, but no, just the Necrophos with the Reaper's Scythe will be enough. That's a massive pickup there for DB and something they desperately needed on the side of AG. And something the TNC really can't afford to give away too much of. Could be very careful not to give too many of those kills away after such a great start, because again, AG, they can catch up very, very fast.
Yeah, just great patience this time from AG. They really needed that angle out in Azura. He does feel confident now with the BKB running as well. So that is the point where AG can start to look a bit more aggressive, and that's where TNC should watch out. They could take this time to just build up. Bonk.
Bramble Spring's going to slow him up. Boundless Strike will be there to follow up as Azura will move his way in, but with the Wukong's command out, they should have more than enough damage, and they will. Another great pickoff for Army Geniuses. TNC, that's 2 cores in a row going down now. The net worth will slowly dwindle away as they are going to try into the mid lane, but they'll find nothing. Instead up a top lane, they might catch Wami, and they will. Yoe needs to back off though. Narman is around. Primal Spring in with the Boundless Strike setup. Yoe going to try and tank through it. Narman, he'll keep going. Mavis is there to help him out. Wami, still, rather Narman, still trying, but Yoe is going to juke him out. Narman's gone too far. Yoe, he'll take both kills and he'll back out of there. Oh, Narman, even with the Jingu Mastery proc, John, it was only level 1. Towards the right side, they've even got Varish now. So AG giving more kills back the way of TNC.
Invisibility.
And it's a little bit back and forth. You talked about TNC not having to make those mistakes. AG also can't afford to bleed out kills like that. Azura is holding on to top. They don't have threat of Black Hole here to play with.
Azura going to BKB up very early on and throw the boat out onto this tiny Carlo. Should eventually just drop here and just may is no, never mind, he's not dead yet. Krish is in with a spear back onto Azura. They might have the Kunkka trade, and they do. That is just such a bad trade here for Army Geniuses. They don't have Black Hole to play with either. They've got to be very careful. Narman, he'll jump in with the Boundless. Bramble Spring is there for Arish. It's a great block out. Drops the arena defensively to make sure they can't kill him off. But again, he understands how valuable his life is right now. He just can't afford to die. He will walk away scot-free.
Yep, just nice defensive plays coming out from Krish there. AG overcommitting. That was a really early BKB use from Azura as well. Like you mentioned it, but he needed that a little bit longer. He saw the timing from Krish to blink forward, get the spear back at the right time, and just put that Kunkka out of position. AG 15-7 now, 5k behind in comparison to TNC. Still trying to get that build up on DB. He does have the Radiance up here, Mike, on the Necrophos, but again, it just doesn't feel enough. He will go for that BKB that we talked about, so he will have that spell immunity up sooner rather than later, and he has been given a good amount of room to farm up. He was bottom net worth core a while ago. Now he has managed to at least almost keep up with Krish and isn't too far behind in comparison to Bak and Yoe. So if all things considered, AG are doing a decent enough job of not falling too far behind. It still begs the question though, Mike. They still need to get that big team fight going. They need these BKBs to come out on DB and on Wami just to have that combination of Black Hole and
DB. He's going to be okay. Like, was it DB? Maybe Azura. Never mind, John. I'm going blind. It's AG. They're going to smoke up, head down bot. See what they can find.
Pretty blind smoke though. They don't have too many aggressive wards. They only had DB farming that lane. Figured maybe someone would bite the bait. No one quite going there. Smoke on smoke now though.
Yeah, smoke on smoke, but they've got the high ground on the side of Army Geniuses, so it could be a great team fight. TNC has their smoke broken. Vision down by Varish, but it's immediately dewarded here by the Treant. It's AG without the vision, do not want to force the fight. TNC though, more than happy to keep going. They just need some kind of blink initiation, and well, Krish, he's trying to get within range to do it. Varish, slowed up now. They might at least have a Phoenix on their hands. The Avalanche and Tossback is out. They'll at least get themselves a fire chicken. There's Narman. Well, he'll at least keep the bot lane pushed out, so it doesn't seem like there's going to be much to capitalize off of Krish. He does find the arena. Finding the Monkey King. That'll be another kill to go the way of TNC.
Just really easy to lock in that monkey when you've got the Mars Arena. Cut down the tree line. Check out the tree line as well, very easy. And they do have good wards watching that area, so AG don't find anything for their smoke troubles. Are buying space out for Wami. He worked the top lane all by himself that entire time. BKB is really starting to inch in here for Enigma, but it goes back to what we said about the draft here, Mike. Even if you have that BKB on the Enigma, Mavis always has the overgrowth, and he does have Blink on Trine. Even with that trump card for AG, it's still going to be tough to pull that combination off.
Azura in big trouble. Carlo not going to be able to get the avalanche in time. Azura, he does BKB up, TP away. He's trying, but the overgrowth is up from Mavis. They lock him down mid-TP. He is going nowhere. Another kill out for Krish on the Mars. And so far, just such solid play here from TNC Predator.
They're playing as a very refined unit, and this is sort of surprising for a team that's relatively fresh. They add in Krish and Mavis fairly late in comparison to AG's lineup, right? AG's been around for quite a while with this roster, and you still see that coordination coming in from TNC. AG falling a bit flat. Maybe some of it coming back to the draft. This lineup is just a little bit strange. Running that safe lane next post didn't dominate the lane. Now Roshan's up. Narman is scouting out. Could try for a play here.
Oh, nice spear. That's a great spear from Krish. Arena down as well. He jumps out of the tree in time, but it's not going to matter. Yoe, he'll take the Aegis on the Prophet. Top net worth is the Prophet at the moment, as they might just head in for a tier 2 tower in the mid lane. I mean, why the hell not? They're just so powerful right now, TNC. I mean, you might wait out the ultis a little bit, your spells, before you keep going for more. That Varish is going to get caught out for a moment. Slows are still there, so Yoeg just going to keep going on the Prophet. Does find another. Disastrous game so far for Army Geniuses.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've even seen that combination once. The Black Hole Egg combo has never come out. Black Hole, Wukong's both in top. Like, the team fight for AG is just not coming through. Now, they do have really good high ground with Tretafall of that team fight. So even if they drop some of these outer towers, as they are losing mid and they've already lost top, they still have play potential to defend. It is getting tougher and tougher. They do have that BKB up in Wami, but they've got an option for the Black Hole. They just need to be able to control up Mavis as well in the team fight, just to ensure the overgrowth's not there. Easier said than done. Mavis has been positioning really well throughout this entire game, and TNC just find a big advantage, although...
Yeah, Mavis does get caught out by Narman. His teammates are making their way over, though, and Mavis does have overgrowth available, so they might actually be able to take the fight. In fact, Spear is going to land. Oh, what a blink out. Mavis not going to take the boat either. AG still unable to find anything for their trouble. As scans out, they are coming closer. TNC, they still want to force the fight. Krish, he's going to have a look around, but does not find a nice spear to land. Azura, in the meantime, going to chip away at Krish with the torrent. It means nothing so far, as AG trying to loop around from the backside, looking for something. Might have the Treant Protector, and they will, but Carlo with a great toss back onto the Necrophos. DB in big trouble. They'll drop the egg down, but they've already lost DB on the Necro as Carlo. He's going to trade his life away for that. But that is a position 1 Necrophos they end up getting. That'll be enough for TNC. They'll back out.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like a good opening for AG once they took care of Mavis. Without the Treant, there's nothing to stop that BKB Black Hole, but Wami just couldn't find the angle, and TNC very disciplined to split that fight up into 2 fronts. DB going way too far forward. He does have the Kaya Sanch, so there is some durability coming through. Does still need something more in Narman.
Yeah, in big trouble. Krish actually has those spear available, so Narman's going to be fine. Ended up using the spear a bit earlier on, and apparently it just didn't land.
Yeah, small mistake coming out from Krish. Narman does get to stall for time and does bait out the arena use. Not the longest cooldown in the world. I don't think there is much AG can really do with that timing right now, as they still need to kind of regroup themselves. They'd want to have the egg ready with the Black Hole. Still a minute until that egg is back up. They do have hold on their high ground here in the triangle, and TNC might force this issue here.
They may. Varish, he's got the vision. Bok, let me spot it as well. Army Geniuses, they still have Black Hole to play with. No egg available, but they've got everything else right now, and 1 Black Hole will do it. Problem is, he doesn't have a blink up at the moment here for Wami, so he doesn't have the greatest mobility to set up for that. And as well as that, you've got to catch Mavis in that Black Hole. Otherwise, he just commits overgrowth and the black hole is cancelled through BKB. And it doesn't seem like they'll have the opportunity to go for it anyway. Instead, lines have been drawn out towards the top lane, where Yoe is hanging around on the Prophet. But it does seem like Narman is just going to try and get the outpost back. And that'll be enough for him for now. But he may get caught out if he's not too careful, Narman. He's going to get back into the tree line as mid lane. Who have they got? It's going to be Azura. He'll BKB up and try to run his way out, but the Viper Strike is going to slow him down. Egg is going to be dropped, but the Egg will be focused. No problem here for TNC as they're going to fight Azura. Another great pickup as DB, he's been slowed up. They'll make the jump in. Carlo with a great toss out onto the Necro. It's going to mean another. Army geniuses, they just can't survive anything. They find no kills for their trouble. And TNC now, they can go high ground.
Now, they force out the BKBs from Wami there as well, so he's not going to have that for the high ground defense. And this is just a straightforward push for the side of TNC. Like, AG need everything from their teamfight spells to really get this done. Wukong's plus Black Hole just isn't enough. They even managed to clip Norman off the tree line. And it's just a basic push. You've got Nature's Prophet, you've got a Viper with Dragonlance. You can just push very, very safely here. You've already got level 20 here on Yoa as well, Mike. So even if Mavis doesn't get to use Overgrowth, you've always got the Sprout leashing, which will interrupt BKB. So hey, more things to worry about for Wami. Isn't that balanced?
It certainly is, Jonathan. You love to see it. Poor old Wami, just not having the Enigma game you'd hope for. And I don't think this is due to the nerfs that happened to Enigma or anything like that. I think it was just the Prophet pick with the TNC draft to counter the Enigma in the laning phase just really hurt them. And you saw how that top lane went as well. Like, the Viper versus Necro, just, it did not work out. At least for DB, and they just haven't recovered since the laning stage.
It's a tricky one. When your Necros falls behind, it just doesn't play catch-up well. It needs to dominate the lane. Good positioning from AG, though. Again, holding the high ground on their triangle, but they need to be able to force the fight from that position. The side of TNC just being very patient on the left side. We'll see Roshan in about 2 minutes when that timer is for the respawn. That's more than enough time to just keep building up this lead, keep getting more gold up onto Yoe. Arsene group up here, though.
Carlo, another great toss back on the Tiny. The Avalanche gonna catch him out, even with the Icarus dive away. Army geniuses once again, tail between their legs, need to run. TNC, they might think about trying for high ground again. Mind you, they don't have an Aegis up right now. They might just wait out the next Roshan before doing so. But for now, like, you control the whole map, so there's just no rush for them. They just keep the farm going. It doesn't seem like they're at all concerned about this Enigma. And while Wami does have a blink up now, it may just not make the difference.
Yeah, it's still a really tough circumstance for AG to pull off that coordination they need here. I think the next big spike for the side of AG is actually the shard on Wami. Just having that gravitational pull on the black hole, it makes these team fights pretty obnoxious. Clumps you up really well for the egg, drags you into the black hole, and takes away any threat as long as you get a good position on it for the pull, and that is going to be the smoke out on AG with a blink reveal at least. So see if they find the angle. Mavis is in the prime spot to cut off that smoke. And if they do get cut off, that means their entire angle for this sort of comeback play just disappears.
Well, TNC already around. Army geniuses gonna have their smoke broken on Narman. Back into the tree line. Krish still hanging around with his team. It seems like they want the fight. They'll get a few D wards off in their dire jungle. And for TNC, I think the most important thing right now is making sure Roshan is secured. As long as you do that, you're more than happy. And Roshan, it's going to be a very early timer. Only 10 seconds for Roshan to respawn. Army Geniuses getting kind of unlucky here, but they do still have that Enigma blink timing. They can try to make use of. Snarman will take the outpost back, but Yoe, he's right in. They really want that Monkey King to be punished for that. He'll BKB up and try to survive through it with the Wukong's command, but they just don't care. It does no damage anyway. TNC could not give a crap. As Krish, he'll try to go for a bit more, but finds nothing. But they can go right back for Roshan now.
Roshan up. Roshan number 2 with a free shard. Not something AG
Dire's
will
bottom tower
want
is
to give
under
up.
attack.
TNC could actually just go high ground as well without the Wukongs on top to protect the Black Hole and Egg. It's really straightforward.
Yeah, jump in. They've got the Necrophos immediately. DB's just gone. And now into the tiny we go. Azura. He's going to be able to survive thanks to the Shadow Blade. But can they help this tier 3 tower survive? It doesn't seem like it as they miss the torrent. They'll miss the boat to boot. TNC looking for more. Find Wami in the tree line. That'll be your Enigma gone. No buyback available as Carlo in with a great avalanche toss out. And Azura, he's going to cop the nullifier. Again, the Shadow Blade is going to save his life, but he's lost his whole team.
Barracks are under attack.
They'll take the top racks. They'll go for a middle racks as well. Nothing to stop them.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah.
Dire's middle
Carlo,
Going for a bit more.
really aggressive.
GG. They just call it. They know this game's over. TNC, a very dominant game number 1 here against Army Geniuses.
Radiant
Yeah, very good to see from TNC as well, John. Again, it was a bit of a struggle with their debut in Div 2. But this time around, at least for game 1, they look quite solid.
Yeah, I'm curious about the mindset here from AG with that draft. You talked about it. The lanes didn't go out too well there, Mike. Enigma versus Treant wasn't great. Viper versus Necrophos wasn't great. And it feels like AG had enough room to flex their draft. Like, I was personally still expecting an off-lane Necrophos, a safe lane Monkey King with a support duo of Phoenix and Enigma, which still isn't great, but you do get stronger lanes, right? Like, you can expect the Necrophos to work the lane against Nature's Prophet a little bit better. You can work the top lane with your Monkey King versus Viper is still tough, but at least you're not going to get as slowed down as a Necrophos does. It does need that momentum start. And it was just tough for AG to go forward. Once they kind of lost out in that laning phase, bouncing back with the Necrophos rushing Sacred Relic into Radiance just doesn't feel amazing. And that team fight factor for AG just never came out. We never saw the big black holes with the Supernova on top, with the Egg coming through, and with the boat coming through, and with the Wukongs on top. They couldn't coordinate on that level because TNC kept finding the pickoffs. They had a tiny support. They had this huge early timing from Krish that could just jump in and relocate them, push them back away from this sort of coordinated team fight. So that kind of connection for AG never came out, and TNC, they look amazing. Again, this is a team that hasn't been around as long as AG has with their current lineup, but they're already showing that coordination to play with each other really well. We'll have to see how AG adjusts for game 2.
We'll find out very soon, John. We are going to head off to a 10-minute break, but right after that break, we'll be back with Game 2's draft between TNC Predator and, of course, Army Geniuses. We'll see you then.